Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We are doing our best to provide you with our daily episodes. In case it won't be possible due to power outages or missile strikes, don't worry, we'll come back to you as soon as we can. Meanwhile, you can support us by sharing information about the podcast, rating us in the apps, and by subscribing to our Patreon, following the link in the description to this episode. With your support, we can continue our work. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 328 days, Ukraine defends itself against the Russian invasion. President Volodymyr Zelensky informed in his evening video address that the rescue operation on the site of the recent missile attack in Dnipro has been completed. 79 people were wounded or injured by this Russian strike. The list of the dead includes 45 people, including 6 children, one of them a boy who was only 11 months old, said the president. He pointed out that now Russia considers children and civilians its enemies. The Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, announced his country's plans to transfer the Patriot air defense system to Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. The announcement was made during Rutte's visit to Washington and meeting with President Joe Biden. Ukraine will receive one Patriot complex from the Netherlands. The President of Ukraine thanked Prime Minister Rutte for this decision. Zelensky stressed that the overall number of Patriot systems that partners promised Ukraine already reached 3, and this is only the beginning. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung informs that if the German government decides to supply Ukraine with Leopard 2 tanks in the near future, it could possibly be able to hand over 10 to 15 repaired tanks by the end of 2023, reports European Pravda. According to the media sources in the defense sector, delivery is possible as early as October or November 2023, but only if orders are placed immediately. If the German government approves the orders, then from the third quarter it will be possible to supply one Leopard 2 tank per week. The media also learned that Berlin is currently considering the possibility of supplying Ukraine with 29 more Leopard 2 tanks, which are currently intended for Slovakia and the Czech Republic. But the governments in Prague and Bratislava will have to agree to such a redistribution. As for the 40 Marder infantry fighting vehicles that the German government has already promised to Ukraine, industry sources say that 20 of them could be delivered by the end of April. The rest should come from the warehouses of the Bundeswehr. After that, subject to placing an order, it would be possible to provide 10 units per month starting in July. In addition, from the middle of the year, Ukraine can receive 40 Fuchs armored vehicles of new production. The annual World Economic Forum started in Davos, Switzerland. Volodymyr Zelensky informed in his video address that the world heard Ukraine and its calls for increased global pressure on the terrorist state of Russia. According to the president, the First Lady Olena Zelenska presented the Ukraine peace formula in Davos, and the world's support for Ukraine's diplomatic initiative is very much felt. Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal informed that in the latest Russian missile attack this weekend, 9 units of thermal power plants, 3 main substations and 1 overhead line have been damaged, reports Ukrinform. He said that it forced Ukraine to apply emergency outages. At the same time, according to the Prime Minister, the country's power system survived, remained intact and manageable. Repair work continues around the clock, and Ukraine also plans to purchase power equipment worth more than 100 million euros taken from the Ukraine Energy Support Fund. Alexei Arestovich has been relieved of his position as a non-staff advisor of the President's Office of Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. On January 14th, after a Russian missile hit a residential building in Dnipro, killing more than 40 people, the advisor to the president's office said to the media that the missile fell on a residential building because it was allegedly shot down by a Ukrainian air defense system. The information was quickly picked up and used by Russian media and officials to deny any responsibility for the consequences of the attack. The Air Force of Ukraine denied Arestovich's statement, saying that Ukraine does not have the means to shoot down a type of missile which hit a residential building. The European Commission paid Ukraine 3 billion euros of the first tranche of macrofinancial assistance for 2023, reports RBK Ukraine. Overall, the EU allocated 18 billion euros for Ukraine in 2023. Subsequent payments will be made monthly from March in the amount of 1.5 billion euros at a time. The European Commission said with the help of these funds, Ukraine will be able to keep on paying wages and pensions and maintain essential public services running, such as hospitals, schools, and housing for relocated people. In addition, EU assistance should allow Ukraine to rebuild infrastructure and maintain macroeconomic stability. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.